So La La Land is the latest film from Damien Chazelle, who's the director of Whiplash, which was one of my favorite films of 2014. It's a musical that tells the story of Mia, an aspiring actress, and Sebastian, an aspiring jazz musician, as they fall in love and try to live out their lifelong dreams. So the Oscars are just around the corner, and that's usually the time when all the big Oscar contenders come out. La La Land is one of those movies, but in order to really explain the significance of this movie, I gotta tell you a little story. Now, once upon a time, there was a place. A magical place. A wonderful place where all your dreams could come true and be realized. That place was called Hollywood. While in reality it was a place that was filled with overwhelming amounts of greed, avarice, racism, and sexism, most people didn't see that. Most people saw Hollywood as a place filled with excitement and adventure. And it was all thanks to America's new favorite pastime, movies. For me, the 1920s to the late 1960s was the golden age of filmmaking. This was when the film industry really blossomed into something amazing. Movies had the ability to transport people to these amazing, exciting new worlds that they wouldn't have been able to see in a radio show or a book. They were actually able to see this story in the most realistic and lifelike way possible. Now back then, going to the movies wasn't just a simple fun thing to do like it is today. Going to the movie theater was an event. It was an experience. It was pretty similar to going to see a show or a play. The world loved these movies no matter what genre it was. There were a lot of genres to choose from. You had these amazing 4-hour epics like Ben-Hur and Lawrence of Arabia. You had revolutionary science fiction films like 2001: A Space Odyssey and Planet of the Apes. But none of them were as popular as America's favorite genre, the Hollywood musical. Now people didn't need to fly all the way out to New York to see a play on Broadway. They could just go to their local movie theater and see a musical right there. There are so many classic movies like The Jazz Singer, which was the first musical of all time to use sound. Mammy. The Wizard of Oz, An American in Paris, The Sound of Music, and my personal favorite, Singing in the Rain. This is probably in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I actually watched it again just recently because I'm a nerd and I bought the Blu-ray Collector's Edition, and I was amazed at just how well this movie still holds up. It came out in 1952, and the performances from Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, and Debbie Reynolds, rest in peace, are still mesmerizing. The story is still engaging. The direction and cinematography is still gorgeous. The musical numbers are still mesmerizing, and it is genuinely hilarious.
Hey, Claus, do something! Call me a cab! Okay, you're a cab.
And all in all, this is just a really fun and happy movie. It's a movie that isn't concerned with making an endless amounts of sequels or setting up a new universe. It is a movie that is made for the sole purpose of being entertaining, and it totally succeeds. I know musicals in general are the least favorite genre for most people, but I don't know, I kinda have a soft spot for them. Yeah, you can call me a wuss and a nerd for liking them, but I don't know, they make me happy. Unfortunately, the movie musical really died off eventually. This style of filmmaking just wasn't becoming popular anymore. Some studios like Disney were able to successfully reinvigorate and innovate the genre. Most musicals nowadays are based on established Broadway shows, and a lot of them are kind of terrible. Yeah, that's right, I put Les Miserables on there. It's a great book, it's a great show, but it is an awful, awful movie.
How dare he?
And I'm Javert.
So with that history lesson out of the way, what does any of that have to do with La La Land? Well, you see, La La Land is a brilliant and glorious love letter to that golden age of Hollywood. Firstly, it's a love letter to Hollywood's classic tone and style. This movie does take place in present-day Los Angeles, but it feels like it takes place in 1950s Los Angeles. It has these beautiful, vibrant colors and these wonderful-looking wide shots. This truly is a beautiful, beautiful movie. They actually managed to make modern-day Los Angeles look beautiful. Do you know how difficult that is to do? The cinematography and direction is also masterful. Damien Chazelle is clearly becoming one of the best directors in Hollywood today. Pretty much every single musical number in this movie is done in entirely one take. And that's exactly how they should be. It makes the musical numbers so much more impressive when you see that they didn't cut it at all and that it was all done in one shot. There are 3 scenes in the movie that are like that, and they really stand out, especially that opening sequence. So it looks like a Hollywood musical from the 1950s, but it also feels like a Hollywood musical from the 1950s. Now, if you've seen Whiplash, you know the tone of that movie is very harsh and is very depressing.
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
I don't know.
Start counting.
5,
5, 6,
In
7.
4, damn it, look at me.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
La La Land is actually the complete polar opposite of Whiplash. But Whiplash was harsh and depressing, La La Land is fun and optimistic. This movie is just fun and exciting, and it makes you appreciate life. There are down moments in the story, sure, but on the whole, the movie is about optimism and following your dreams. The screenplay, also written by Damien Chazelle, is also phenomenal. I could easily see this movie getting a Best Original Screenplay Oscar. The script in this movie is emotional and investing, but it's also funny and entertaining. And going back to that classic age of Hollywood, the movie actually takes a lot of jabs at millennial culture. I won't really spoil how they do it because I want as many people to go see this movie as possible, but it's pretty hilarious. Let's talk about the two characters, Mia and Sebastian, played by Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, respectively. Ryan Gosling, as I thought he would be, is fantastic. He's one of my favorite actors working today. His character is witty and funny, but he also has a pretty good singing voice, which I wasn't really expecting. And also, you know, he's devilishly handsome. He's everything a man aspires to be. I mean, I'm straight, or at least I think I am, but, you know, I'd say let's do it if it was Ryan Gosling. And then you get to Emma Stone, who really blew me away in this movie. I already knew she was a great actress from movies like Birdman, but I didn't really know how much musical talent she had. Her dancing is great, and her singing voice initially sounded kind of like it's not bad by any stretch, but it just wasn't like big grand musical singing. But there is this one scene towards the end of the movie that is like, it's like the Oscar scene that you see when they're rolling all the Best Actress nominations. You'll see this scene there. This scene is beautifully acted, and her singing voice is just fantastic at that moment, and she is hands down a big contender for Best Actress. These two characters also had great chemistry with each other. I was in love with them. They were just really likable together as a couple, and I really cared about their relationship. So this movie really is a great dating movie. Or at least, you know, I think it is. I mean, the couples around me seem to like it, even though I was sitting there by myself, as always. I'm not trying to like imply anything or anything, but you know, if you're a female and you want to go see it, then you know, holla at your boy. And then we get to pretty much the most important aspect of a musical, the music. It's perfect. Like I mentioned earlier, the way it's shot is gorgeous, but the actual choreography and singing and songs are all super catchy. It feels modern, but also harkening back to that golden age again. It also kind of has a jazz flair to it, which I really liked. Damien Chazelle seems to really understand jazz music, and he's pretty much implemented in all of his movies, like Whiplash. Whiplash showed us the instrumental part of that, and La La Land shows us the more musical part of that. And it's not like smooth jazz, it's like fast and exciting jazz. And yeah, I really like the way he does jazz music because I really like jazz music. No, wait, no!
You like jazz?
If I were to talk about problems, I'd say that the end kind of has Lord of the Rings syndrome, where it feels like it ends like 5 different times. But I'm not really going to complain about that, because the actual ending of this movie is perfect and kind of bittersweet. So it's really more of a nitpick. So on the whole, La La Land is a love letter to the classic Hollywood musical like Singing in the Rain. It is a love letter to the golden age of filmmaking. It is a love letter to classic Hollywood. It's a love letter to all of those things, but it never got to the point where it felt pandering or just excessive. The movie is a brilliant homage to all of those things, but it still stands on its own. And lastly, but most importantly, it is a love letter to the reason why people love Hollywood so much. This is a movie that inspires people to follow their dreams and live their lives to the fullest, and that's what Hollywood represents for a lot of people, including myself. And it's for that and all of the other reasons that I've mentioned that La La Land is my favorite movie of 2016. So yeah, that's all I got. I'm Aiden and I like movies. See you guys later.